Okay, so we're sitting here in Hanoi. We'll be doing a flight over to Hong Kong. So this video is going to cover cockpit preparation, engine start, and a few other things. So let's get started. All right, the first thing we want to do is up in the overhead panel. We want to go ahead and we have the ground power available. So it says external power. We'll click that. All right, that's going to start powering the aircraft. We want to turn on our navigation lights. This is going to alert the ground crew that the aircraft is powered. And next thing I always like to do, first thing you got to do actually is come down here. This view here is probably the best view to show you. Make sure your parking brake is engaged and that the flaps are up. All right. Next thing you want to do is probably brighten up the ECAM panels a little bit for this next step. So let me do this first. Brighten up the ECAM screens. You want to go to your overhead panel, and you want to do your fire test. So this is the engine 1 test button. So I'll click this. Go look at my ECAM. There it is. Showing me my fire test for engine 1. Go back above. Do the same thing for the APU. You want to test the APU. Click the test button. Wrong button. Go back to your ECAM. There's the APU fire test. And lastly, the same thing for engine 2. Alright, so with all my fire tests completed, I want to go ahead and brighten up these displays as well. So this is how you brighten up these displays. Go to the first officer side and do the same thing. And back in the overhead panel, the easiest way to think of this, actually let's brighten this up a little bit, is basically you don't want to see anything white. So everything that's white has to be off. But first, let me start aligning my IRSs. So you click all of these. These are your fuel pump switches. These are your 2 battery switches. Anything that's white, you want to turn it off. Your crew oxygen supply, turn that off. And you want to arm the emergency lights. Now, I don't think they modeled the crew oxygen supply of this airplane. I know they did on the Phoenix Sim A320. But this is where it would be. I'll show you. Right in here, you click this, but it's not modeled yet on the fly-by-wire. But this is where you test the crew oxygen supply, right there. And you want to get the APUs going. Go back to ECAM, click on the APU button, and you'll see when the APU is available. It's coming to life now. And it'll say available once it's ready. EGT is your exhaust gas temperature. This will rise to almost 700, then it'll peak, then it'll come back down. Alright, we're waiting. There it is. Available, there it is. It says avail. So now we can go to the APU bleed switch. We're going to need that when it's time to turn on the engines. And now we'll go down into the MCDU, and we want to import the flight plan. So that's really easy. You go to your ATSU menu, ALC, init press, and init data request. And there it is. Import in my origin and my destination. There's some other cool stuff in here I want to show you, but let's keep going with getting this stuff in here. We'll go to the init page. I know I'm going to be cruising. Well, first my cost index is going to be 30. And I'll be cruising at flight level 280. Then we hit the left arrow, start putting in our weight and balance data. You click this once, you click it again. Oh, I forgot to write down my block fuel, but I think it was like 26.8. Put that in here. It'll populate the rest of the information for you. Pretty cool. Performance, takeoff. So V1, these I know by heart. 135 for the VR rotate, and V2 would be like 140. Lastly, on this page, your engine acceleration altitude for this airport is 1,540 feet. The MCDU defaults to 1,500 feet, which I'm pretty sure you can change that, but we'll just put in 1,540. And now we have that in there as well. Okay. We'll go back to the MCDU menu, the ATSU menu, AOC, weight and balance. And then there's a second page. You see this is page 1 of 2. So we'll go to page 2. And I know that this airplane, this variant, carries about 174 passengers. So instead of putting them all one by one, I'll put it up here in the total. And once I click start boarding, it'll sort it all out. So you see it's boarding now. Alright? And of course my, so it says, I do have the gate connected to the aircraft already. Alright? I'll turn on the constraints. And on this version, because the current version of the fly-by-wire mod, for some reason they disabled the terrain radar and the weather radar. So I still have it on this one. I saved one of the older variants. Versions of the fly-by-wire A320. I'll turn that on, then I'll go down here. I want to close the cockpit door. Here on the weather panel, I want to put that to 1. And this has to do with wind shear. I didn't read up on it the way I should have before I did this tutorial, but you want to make sure this is on if your current version of the fly-by-wire mod has this still enabled, because they disabled it on the most recent version. On the transponder panel, it's set to above. That's cool. During the takeoff, you want to have that on above. I put it on auto, and then I set this to TARA. TA just means traffic advisory. I'm sorry, traffic awareness. So on your navigation display, it'll show any traffic that's around. Maybe if I zoom, well, I can't zoom any closer to that, but it'll show other aircraft around you on this navigation display. Right? And then the other part of that, the RA, that's resolution advisory. In other words, if there was like, the possibility of a conflict or mid-air collision between you and another aircraft, the RA part stands for resolution advisory. And what you will hear ATC saying, your flight number and say something like climb, 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 or descend. And that, again, it'll be displayed in here in red, like a flashing red diamond. So that's a resolution advisory. So I got that going. To reset my transponder to, my barometer to the current reading, you just press the letter B, and you see that change, right? I put it on 2.9. I put on the American version, which is there. Okay. So we got that going. Let's check the loading status in here. We're almost finished boarding. A few other things here. I guess we'll start talking to ATC. So let's request clearance.
Clearance delivery Beechjet Tree 51 Juliet Romeo IFR to Hong Kong, ready to copy.
Beechjet Tree 51 Juliet Romeo is cleared to Hong Kong Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 11 right climb and maintain 13,000 feet. Departure frequency is 125.9er, squawk 6 tree 77.
Alright, so I'm cleared to 13,000. So let's put that in here. And we'll read back.
VJet 351 Juliet Romeo cleared to Hong Kong Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 11 right climb and maintain 13,000 feet. Departure on 125.9er squawk 6377.
VJet 351 Juliet Romeo readback is correct. Contact ground on 121.9er when ready to taxi. Good day.
Okay, then on this side, I like to have airports display, especially during the takeoff. Alright, so now we'll tune ground, get ready to taxi. So we'll request taxi
Ground VJet
IFR.
351 Juliet Romeo with Oscar ready to taxi IFR.
VJet 351 Juliet Romeo taxi to and hold short of runway 11 right using taxiway Alpha Bravo. Contact tower on 118.4 when ready.
We'll go ahead and
Taxi and
acknowledge
hold short
taxi
runway 11
clearance.
right using taxiway Alpha Bravo VJet 351 Juliet Romeo.
Now here's a nice little piece of information to know, just in case you want to try taxiing without the what do you call these things? The I'm sorry, the taxi guidance. You know, the taxi ribbons that the Flight Simulator 2020 will display for you. If you go to the airport that you're at, which I know it's Victor Victor November Bravo, and what you want to go into is taxi, and in here you look for airport info. That's where it's going to be at. So there's airport info, and it gives a diagram of obviously the airport, the runways, and your taxiways too. So I think he told me taxi using taxiway Alpha Bravo. So here's my aircraft right here. So at least I know where I'm starting, and I know which taxiways to use. So, and the aircraft will be moving as you're taxiing, so you know you can kind of keep track of where you are. So that's always good to know. Other pieces of useful information. Let's say we were landing at this runway. You're entering your landing data. Right here's the runway length for each one of these. Runway. Let's say if you were landing on this side, the runway elevation is 39 feet. You can see here. Even gives you the runway heading. So this is all pretty good information here. But usually when I'm on this screen is usually when I'm taxiing before I take off or after I've just landed and they tell me what gate I'm going to. I'll bring this up and I can actually see my aircraft moving as I'm taxiing along the way. Alright, so we'll move this off to a different screen here. And of course we never start our engines at the gate, so we'll get ready to request pushback. I'm pretty sure we're done loading. Let's double check. Yeah, we're done loading, so I'll go to the EFB and disconnect the gate, the jetway. You should see it disconnect shortly here. There it is, the jetway is disconnected. And one really cool feature I wanted to show you guys before we get going here. It's going to be back in the AOC menu. So we go to ATSU and AOC, and we'll request the weather. And you notice there's two choices. This is where I'm at now, Hanoi, and this is Hong Kong. If I didn't want to see Hong Kong right now, I would just unclick it, click it, then it's gone. And it's just going to give me the weather report for where I'm at right now. So I'll say, well, it's already selected MEDAR, right? So I'll say send, and you look at the upper ECAM, you'll get a message that says something like company message received. So we'll wait for that. There it is, company message, right? Now this is a really cool part. Go down here. I'll just set up this view. Actually, we gotta we'll go back here and we gotta go to received messages. I'm sorry. Back here, received messages. All right, METAR. Now, when you click on print, this is really cool. Click print and then switch your view to down here, and look at that. It's printing out the METAR, the weather report for where you are right now. Once it prints out, you click it, and it's going to place it up here by your MCDU. So there it is. So that is, what is it, 29 May at 1500 Zulu. Winds from 050 at 4 knots. Looks like broken clouds at 1800 feet. I had a little cheat sheet on how to read these METARs, but you can find that anywhere. But that's pretty cool. And this is really useful when you're getting ready to start your descent and approach. You just go back there and you request it for the airport that you're going to. So we'll go back here, METAR. Which one was it? Yeah, you would do a weather request again, and I would just put Victor Hotel 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 up here instead. And then I would just send it and then wait for the upper ECAM screen to say company message. So I really like that feature. Alright, so we'll talk to ground, and we're going to go ahead and request pushback.
Ground VJet Tree 51
Get an
Juliet
outside
Romeo
view
requesting
here.
pushback.
VJet Tree 51 Juliet Romeo,
I don't know
pushback
how that
request
tug is going to
accepted.
manage to move around in there. Oh, I think I see what happened here. Before I started this tutorial, my engine ignition switches were already on. But that's okay. I just turned them off. I'll put this knob. The engine mode switch, I had it on ignition already, but I just put it on norm. But now I just switch it back to ignition slash start. I'll go ahead and release my parking brake now, just as the tug is getting ready to connect. And now that I'm pushing back, I'll go ahead and start engine number 1. So you'll see engine number 1 come to life here. Actually, now that the aircraft is moving, you want to turn on your taxi lights before you do that. Beacon lights, strobe lights. I even turn on the wind lights. Seatbelt signs. Alright. So we should see engine 1 come to life pretty soon here. There it is, it's starting to spool up. This is a beautifully painted VJet A320 livery. Looks really, really nice. And looks like some really threatening weather out there too. Look at that. So back inside the cockpit, what we're looking at here, when engine 1 is available, you'll see a message up here that says avail. For some reason, I'm having an issue with my throttle quadrant mode start switch. I mean, the engine mode switch, where you can probably hear it clicking in the background. It'll keep doing that until I put it back on normal mode. So now there it is. It says avail. So we'll go ahead and start on number 2. And get an outside view.
Ground VJet Tree 51 Juliet Romeo requesting the end of pushback.
VJet Tree 51
Alright, pushback
Juliet
is
Romeo
over, so I
request to
just
end pushback received.
reset my parking brake. And now we're waiting for number 2 to come to life. So there's number 2 spinning up. And back here at the EFB, I'll sync this and sync that. Alright. In here you can get your landing info. You can actually import your flight plan from SimBrief in here. It's already my MCDU, but just to have it in here too, that's it. You just click it and it's there now. So both engines are both available. Alright. We'll taxi and then we'll do some final checks that I want to show you before we actually take off. Actually, I'm going to need the VFR map. So I'm going to bring that up and slide it over to another window. Oh, wait a minute. I still have that chart open for the airport info. I was showing you guys where you can find out where you're taxiing. And just to be sure, pretty sure they gave me 11 right for the departure. Let's check here. Yeah, 11 right. Okay. So I know where I'm at, and I know where I need to taxi to. So yeah, the parking brakes are off. Go ahead and get an outside view, and we'll start to taxi. I'm going to go ahead and set flaps 1 during my taxi. I think they didn't move, but I think I know why. I think I'm using my profile for a different Airbus, the Phoenix Sim Airbus, so that's not a problem. That's an easy fix. I don't think it's going to like the fact that I came in this way instead of coming in from the other side. It's okay. I know what I can do. I'll just go here and then make this quick left here and come back around. So this is actually the runway we're going to take off from, but since I have the taxi lines disabled just for this tutorial, I should probably have come in this way. Not a problem. And I'm not even sure that it makes a difference, but alright, so we'll make this next left right up here. That'll take us right to the whole show point. I think the only difference that it might have made is ATC probably would not have recognized me at being in the right place. So I just once I come to a stop, I just got to quickly switch my throttle profile back to this airplane. So yeah, we'll get ready to hold short here. Using my trusty rudder pedals here. And we'll hold short right here. Alright, parking brake is on. Let me quickly go to my control options. Yeah, and you can see it's on the wrong profile. Let's put it on my A320 profile. Come on. There it is. Apply and save. And now, when I tell it set my flaps, it should comply. So let's go to flaps 1. Let's take a look inside. But this is a really important part now. This is when you want to start looking at your takeoff configuration. So here, this button here, takeoff, what says TO config, that just basically stands for takeoff configuration. And when you look at your upper ECAM, there should be nothing blue. So first thing is telling you auto brakes to max. Auto brakes are right here. I have a switch on my throttle plug-in for that. So I'll just rotate my switch until my auto brakes are max, and you see that went green. You want to think of this screen as all green, nothing blue. You don't want to see anything blue. So cabin checks, that's going to be in your overhead panel. You click this button that says all, and that should go away. Last thing is telling me arm my spoilers. So I got a button for that too. Spoilers are armed. And by the way you can tell whether or not your spoilers are armed or not, if you go and you actually look at your spoilers, let me disarm them for a minute. When you arm your spoilers, when they're disarmed, you don't see any white or gray area down here. But when you arm your spoilers, you see there's like a little gray or white area down there showing now. That's how you can tell your spoilers are armed. Okay? Back to the ECAM. The last thing it's telling me now, there's a test. So I'll click this. And beautiful.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
That means the aircraft is configured for the departure. Alright. So I'm not going to ask you guys to stick around for the flight, but I just wanted to cover this basic information. I really like that feature about requesting the weather and all that. I guess while I'm here, I'll talk briefly about when it's time for you to do your landing, you may want to go ahead and take advantage again of the menu where you could request the METAR or the weather from your destination airport, print it out and put it here, have it handy. You can use that to populate this screen in the EFB, your landing data screen. It's what is the Victor Hotel, get METAR, and then you can populate the rest of this information with, once you get the runway slope. Most of the time there's not going to be any runway slope. There's a calculator for that. LDA, that's going to be on the approach plate. That's your landing decision altitude. QNH, that's just on barometer setting. Runway altitude, runway heading, that's all going to be on the plate. Most of the information on the plate. This I usually set to flaps full. Override procedure, I'm going to say no because I only took enough flight for this fuel. Reverse thrust available, yes. And you get the picture. That's how that works. And when you are setting up for the approach, obviously this switch has to be on the landing system, and you want to rotate this knob over to LS, and it will just display the the landing symbology, the ILS symbology when you're coming in. So hope you guys found this little tutorial useful, and enjoy your day. Bye bye.